Okay, so now we move from Venus in Virgo to Venus in Libra. As you probably know, any two adjacent signs are going to be dramatically different from one another. This is even more true when it comes to contrasting these two very different placements. The reason why is because in the last video we talked about how Venus was in fall in Virgo. That's probably, maybe the hardest sign to put Venus in. Now we move to a dramatically different placement where Venus is in her home sign. She shines very radiantly, very brightly in Libra. And this is it's a home placement. So that means that the attributes that we kind of relate to Venus, those things are going to be very strong for this person right away. These aren't things that really need to be developed a whole lot. They're kind of just strong from the get-go, from someone's youth. So for example, having a strong Venus makes a person very attractive. Part of that attractiveness may be physical, but much of it is in the demeanor. It's in the aura. This person will be kind of easy to be around, and this is generally true on a universal level. So people from all walks of life will enjoy this person's company. Usually when you have a strong Venus energy such as this one, it's kind of just an easygoing charisma. This isn't a super brash, like fiery type of charisma. This is more just like kind of, this person is so pleasant and they're polite and, anyone can kind of just feel at ease. It's a comfortable kind of energy. And with Venus and Libra in particular, this is a very detached energy. Okay, so it's actually very interesting how Venus can thrive in signs that are a little bit more sensual, like Taurus or Pisces. But in this case, Libra, I would argue, is actually the most detached sign. Libra doesn't always come across that way. So oftentimes, I would argue that Libra, or particularly Venus in Libra, comes across like very gushy and kind of flowy and bubbly. It almost comes across kind of like a water sign. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that, but that's at least how I perceive it. The reason why is because, when it comes to any placement in Libra's detachedness allows them to have greater empathy. Like they're constantly focused on, what are other people about? Like I have my own thoughts. What is everyone else, what's going on with other people's thoughts and feelings and beliefs? So this detachedness allows them to actually have greater empathy, if that makes sense. And that's what allows them to be so harmonious and so giving. They're great listeners, for example, and that kind of adds to their charisma and their, value, like socially, if that makes sense. And also on a much deeper level, I think when you have a placement such as Venus and Libra, it adds kind of a social intelligence. So not only are they, really great at getting along with everyone and, they have fun socially, because Venus and Libra, Venus shows what we desire and Libra is all about other people. So someone with Venus and Libra is going to desire being around other people. So not only is that a lot of fun and, that's great for charisma and things like that, but on a much deeper level, this person will be naturally intelligent when it comes to relationships. And that's where you can actually find that some people with Venus and Libra will be very romantic and, they'll be all about marriage if that's what they believe in. Other people may come across surprisingly cynical, and that's where you see this detachedness. Libra can be actually quite cold. I don't think that's the side of Libra that we usually see, especially with Venus and Libra. This is typically going to be very pleasant, like I said. But there is this kind of cold side to it as well. What I've noticed with all air placements is that they have kind of a dual-sided nature. So yes, Libra does have this huge side, or I should say Venus and Libra does have this very bubbly, warm, welcoming side to it. But on the other, on the flip side of every Venus in Libra person, they can also be very cold, detached, and very sober. And yes, that can be a little nuanced, but I think this is what allows them to not only be able to, delve into romance and have so much fun and be very flirty, but they're also able to understand like the actual, ramifications, the consequences of their actions when it comes to relationships. And, you're kind of dealing with other people's feelings and, that can come with a certain weight to it. Venus and Libra understands this very readily. Okay. All right, I might come back to that later. I'm not really sure. I'm kind of just winging this. I didn't mention this is actually a very challenging placement for me to talk about. And it's interesting because like I said in the last video, when it comes to domicile placements, they tend to be universally loved, universally, they're understood very readily. The same is true here. So someone with Venus in Libra, again, when it comes to all those like Venus attributes, like when it comes to desire, pleasure, appearances, this person knows how to manage their appearance. They know how to come across the right way, not just physically, but with their mannerisms, with their social etiquette. There's kind of an intelligence there, and maybe part of it is just an intuition. So on the one hand, this placement comes across like very easy to understand. But at the same time, at least on an astrological level, for some reason it's challenging for me to kind of analyze, and I'm not exactly sure why. I think with Libra placements in general, I don't know if everyone realizes kind of their complexity. Libra tends to simplify themselves because this person really desires getting along with everyone. Like they want to be everybody's friend, right? So to do so, they have to kind of simplify themselves, if that makes sense. Some people might say that they dumb themselves down. I feel like that sounds a little too cynical for what I'm talking about, but you get what I'm saying. Like this person may come across very simple, but behind that apparent simplicity is actually a complex, and a deep intelligence, because again, it's the dual-sided nature. It comes across, this energy comes across maybe kind of ditzy at times, bubbly, friendly, but beneath that there's that very sober, very rational, detached energy as well. And this is especially true in the realm of relationships. So for example, like depending on this person's chart, they might have Sun in Virgo, maybe Sun in Scorpio. They might actually have some very deep kind of heavy placements, but because they have Venus in Libra, the more they delve into romantic experiences, the more kind of detached and the more like an air sign that they'll actually sort of become, because we kind of become our Venus placements more when we are in those romantic experiences, if that makes sense. Okay, what else can we talk about? Pleasure. Venus also does have to do with like material wealth and status to some extent. So all else being equal in the chart, Venus in Libra does give you a good shot at coming across material wealth relatively early in life. Again, that's not going to be true for everyone, but I would say that's going to be more true if you do have Venus in Libra compared to other placements like Venus in Virgo, for example. Because Venus in Libra just kind of works. Venus, like I said in the last video, Venus thrives in these signs that are a little bit more passive in nature. Libra is very passive. Venus in Libra wants to get what it wants in a physically easy way. So for example, like, how can I get what I want through my intelligence or through my good looks rather than like through brawn or, Venus in Libra values harmony. This is why this placement's actually great for leaders, because they're going to get what they want in a way that respects everyone else's free will as much as possible, right? They do want to assert themselves. This is a cardinal placement, but they're asserting themselves in what some might call a backward kind of way, because rather than just saying, hey, this is what I want, like Aries or Capricorn might do, or maybe Venus in Aries, Venus in Capricorn, this is all about subtlety, nuance, and that's where you get into this, like, it's very pleasurable, but it's not only pleasurable, this placement can actually be very secretive as well, because of that kind of indirect, sophisticated approach. So that's where, all in all, if we kind of just step back from it, this is actually a very multifaceted placement. This placement can be bubbly, warm, friendly, easy for everyone to get along with. But it reminds me of that saying, a friend to everyone is a friend to no one. Venus and Libra may be very excellent when it comes to concealing their motives and being kind of everyone's friend. So I'll just kind of end on that note. I hope you liked this analysis. I did my best. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you learned something, or let me know if you disagree. I'm definitely open to all of that. And if you want a reading, hit me up. My information is always in the description. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you later.